It started on a quiet stretch of farmland where a young black girl named Maya spent most of her days helping her family tend the fields. Life on the farm had made her strong, disciplined, and patient, but behind her calm smile was a strength that no one in her small town truly understood. At school, she often kept to herself, choosing peace over conflict, even when whispers and mocking laughter followed her down the hallways. Some students thought she was an easy target, mistaking her kindness for weakness. One afternoon, a group of bullies decided to test her limits. They cornered her near the schoolyard, laughing at her simple clothes and throwing sharp words meant to cut deeper than any stone. Maya stood quietly, her hands resting at her sides, her eyes calm but unshaken. What they didn't know was that every evening, after long hours of farm work, she trained in martial arts under the guidance of her late father's teachings. He had prepared her not just to defend herself, but to carry her strength with dignity. As the bullies closed in, their voices grew louder, daring her to react. Maya took a deep breath, her mind steady as her heart began to race. The question was no longer if she could stand up for herself but when. Maya's life on the farm had always been about hard work and quiet resilience. From sunrise to sunset, she helped her mother gather crops, carried heavy buckets of water, and cared for the animals with a steady hand. These daily tasks shaped her body and sharpened her focus. But what truly set her apart were the lessons passed down by her father. He had been a disciplined martial artist, a man who believed that true power was not in striking first, but in knowing when to stand tall. Maya absorbed every movement, every philosophy, practicing in secret long after he was gone. At school, though, no one saw that side of her. To the other students, she was just the farm girl who wore hand-me-down boots and sat quietly in the back of class. The bullies had singled her out long ago, sensing someone who would not fight back. What they couldn't imagine was the strength hidden beneath her silence. Every cruel laugh and careless shove only tested the patience she carried like armor. Now, standing in the schoolyard with eyes watching from a distance, Maya felt the weight of her father's words echo in her mind. The bullies thought they controlled the moment, but soon, everything was about to change. The tension in the schoolyard thickened as more students began to notice what was happening. Some whispered, some laughed, and others simply watched in silence, unsure of how far things might go. For Maya, every second felt heavier, but she didn't let her face show it. She remembered the long nights on the farm when she practiced stances until her muscles trembled, the sound of her father's voice reminding her that discipline meant never allowing fear to take control. The bullies, confident in their numbers, circled her with smug grins, each one eager to see how far they could push. Their leader, a boy who always thrived on attention, tossed out insults designed to humiliate. His friends echoed him, their voices blending into the noise of the crowd. Yet, beneath their laughter, there was a nervous energy, a faint doubt, none of them admitted. Something about Maya's calm gaze unsettled them. At the same time, a teacher passing by paused but didn't intervene, choosing instead to observe. From a distance, it wasn't the first time Maya had been picked on, and the adults often assumed she was too quiet to ever resist. Meanwhile, Maya's best friend, a girl who had always admired her strength, watched anxiously, silently hoping this would be the day. Maya finally revealed the power she'd been hiding all along. The air grew heavy as the circle around Maya tightened, the crowd now buzzing with a mix of excitement and unease. The bullies were no longer just testing her patience, they were daring her to react. The leader stepped closer, his voice sharper, his words echoing across the yard. Every insult was designed to strip away her calm, to break the quiet strength she carried, but Maya stood steady, her posture unmoving. Her eyes locked with his in a way that made him hesitate for just a moment. Her silence only fueled their aggression. One of the bullies reached out, brushing against her shoulder as if to provoke her, and the crowd leaned in, waiting. Maya's friend at the edge of the circle clenched her fists, torn between rushing forward and staying back, knowing this was Maya's moment to decide. Even the teacher lingering nearby seemed frozen, unsure of whether to step in or let events unfold. Inside, Maya felt her heart pounding, every beat echoing through her chest like a drum. She thought of the countless drills, the controlled breathing, the precise movements she had practiced in the quiet barn under the fading light. All of it had led to this instant. The yard seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see if the farm girl would finally reveal the warrior within. Just as the moment reached its breaking point, a sudden voice cut through the crowd. It was Jordan, a new transfer student who had quietly observed Maya since the start of the school year. He stepped forward, surprising everyone, and called out the bullies for their cruelty. His interruption rattled the group, and for the first time, their leader's confidence slipped. The crowd shifted, murmurs rising, as eyes darted between Maya and Jordan, unsure of what would happen next. But instead of backing down, the bullies grew bolder, feeling the need to prove themselves. Their leader sneered at Jordan and taunted him, daring him to get involved. The energy in the schoolyard shifted from playful mockery to something heavier, more dangerous. The onlookers leaned closer, caught between fear and fascination, sensing that this confrontation was no longer just about teasing a quiet farm girl. It was becoming a test of dominance, pride, and hidden strength. Maya's calm stare never wavered. but inside she knew the stakes had changed. It was no longer just her reputation. At risk it was Jordan's too. And the bullies, desperate to maintain control, were willing to push further than anyone expected. The circle grew tighter, the shouts grew louder, and the moment teetered on the edge of eruption. With no clear way back, the circle had closed so tightly that it felt like the entire schoolyard was holding its breath. The leader lunged forward, trying to shove Jordan aside, but in that instant Maya finally moved. With a swift, precise motion, she stepped between them, her body low, her stance steady. The sudden speed shocked everyone. The bullies froze, realizing, too late, that the quiet farm girl was no ordinary target. In a blur, Maya redirected the leader's shove, using his own momentum to send him stumbling backward. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Before the others could react, she flowed through the movements she had practiced for years. Each step measured, each motion controlled. She didn't strike out of anger, but with calm precision, showing the discipline her father had instilled in her. Within seconds, the bullies who once laughed now found themselves retreating, their confidence shattered. The yard fell silent, broken only by the sound of Maya's steady breathing. Jordan looked at her with wide eyes, realizing she had been carrying this hidden strength all along. Just as the crowd began to cheer, the unexpected twist came. Maya lowered her gaze and whispered that this wasn't the first time she had been forced to defend herself. Her past carried secrets no one at school had ever imagined, leaving everyone stunned, wondering what more her quiet strength was hiding. The crowd slowly dispersed, whispers trailing behind as Maya stood quietly in the center of the yard. The bullies, red-faced and shaken, slipped away without another word, their arrogance replaced by the weight of embarrassment. Jordan stepped closer, still trying to process what he had just witnessed, but Maya gave him only a small smile, as if to say there was nothing more to explain. She had defended herself without cruelty, proving that real strength comes from control, not domination. Back on the farm, Maya walked through the fields, the sunset painting the sky in deep colors. She thought about her father's lessons and how they had carried her through this moment. His words, "Power is not for pride, but for protection," echoed in her mind, and for the first time, she understood them fully. The fight wasn't about showing off her skills or humiliating others. It was about standing firm in who she was and refusing to let cruelty break her spirit. In the days that followed, the whispers at school shifted. Maya was no longer seen as just the quiet farm girl. She had earned a new kind of respect, not just from her classmates but also from herself. And while her secret was no longer hidden, the lesson remained clear: courage is revealed when kindness stands its ground.